Close your eyes and picture this. 2 outs. 7th inning. The scoreboard reads Cardinals 4, Dodgers 2. The stadium is tense in the particular way that late-game deficits produce, not panicked, not resigned, but quietly bracing. The kind of silence where every fan is doing the same private calculation. 2 runs down. 3 outs left after this. The Cardinals' bullpen has been sharp. The Dodgers' lineup has been mostly quiet since the 3rd. Mathematically, the door is not yet closed. But it is nearly closed. And everyone in the building knows it. There is a runner on first. He takes his lead, cautious, reading the pitcher, staying alive. 2 outs means he runs on contact. He needs something to happen. The Dodgers need something to happen. The 40,000 people in that stadium need something to happen. And then Shohei Ohtani steps into the batter's box for the 4th time. This is his 4th at-bat of the game. The Cardinals have seen him 3 times already. They have their data, their adjustments, their plan. Their pitcher on the mound has survived this far. The situation, 2 outs, late inning, team protecting a 2-run lead, statistically favors the defense. Baseball math says the Cardinals should close this out. Baseball math has a way of forgetting about Ohtani. Because here is what the scoreboard does not show. Here is what the broadcast will not tell you. The most dangerous version of Shohei Ohtani is not the first-inning version, fresh and loose, seeing a pitcher cold. The most dangerous version is the 4th at-bat version, the one who has spent the entire game accumulating information, processing adjustments, building a picture of exactly what this pitcher will do when the game is on the line. By the time he digs in with 2 outs in the 7th, Ohtani is not the same hitter the Cardinals faced in the 1st inning. He is something considerably more dangerous. He is a hitter who has been waiting. Cardinals 4, Dodgers 2 looks like a comfortable lead on paper. 2 runs with 6 outs remaining is a margin that bullpens protect every night across the major leagues. It is not a blowout. It is not a statement. But it is, by most conventional baseball standards, a situation where the team in front has genuine control of the game. The Cardinals earned that lead. Their offense had done its work. Their pitching had been disciplined. They had kept the Dodgers' offense, one of the most feared in the National League, at 2 runs through 6+ innings. That is not an accident. That requires a plan, and it requires execution, and the Cardinals had produced both. But there is something about a 2-run lead in the late innings against the Dodgers that carries a particular kind of fragility. It is a lead that feels stable until, very suddenly, it doesn't. The Dodgers lineup is constructed for exactly this kind of moment, deep enough to sustain pressure, patient enough to work counts, and dangerous enough at the top to convert opportunity into runs in a single swing. The runner on first is the first piece of that pressure. His lead, his speed, his presence on the base paths, it narrows the pitcher's options, forces decisions, adds weight to every pitch. He is not the story of this at-bat. But he is the reason the story becomes possible. A man on base with 2 outs in the 7th changes the entire landscape of what one swing can accomplish. And at the plate, preparing to take that swing, is the one hitter in baseball who needs the least invitation. Most conversations about Ohtani's offensive ability focus on what he can do. The exit velocity. The launch angle. The raw power that places him among the elite home run hitters in baseball history on a rate basis. These numbers are real and they are extraordinary. But they miss the dimension of his game that becomes most relevant in a moment exactly like this one. By his 4th at-bat in any game, Ohtani has watched this pitcher from the on-deck circle twice, stood in against him 3 times, and processed every piece of information those interactions have produced. He knows how the fastball moves at the top of the zone. He knows whether the breaking ball is biting harder today than the scouting report suggested or a half-inch flatter. He knows, with the kind of bodily certainty that only comes from lived experience, not film study, exactly which pitch this pitcher reaches for when he needs a strikeout. This is not guessing. Guessing implies uncertainty. What Ohtani does by the fourth at-bat is closer to confirmation, matching what his preparation told him to expect against what 3 trips to the plate have actually shown him, and arriving at something close to a complete picture of what is coming next. The pitcher on the mound in the 7th inning is also doing this work, of course. He has his own information. He has seen Ohtani 3 times. He has his own adjustments, his own plan for this at-bat. But there is an asymmetry here that rarely gets discussed. A pitcher adjusting to Ohtani is trying to move away from what worked the first time, towards something Ohtani hasn't seen yet. Ohtani adjusting to the pitcher is trying to narrow the probability space until only 1 or 2 pitches remain, the ones he is fully prepared to destroy. The pitcher is adding uncertainty. Ohtani is eliminating it. Those are very different processes, and in high-leverage late-inning situations, the one eliminating uncertainty tends to win. There is a common assumption in baseball that 2 outs reduces pressure on the offense. The logic is simple: 1 more out ends the inning, so the defense is 1 pitch away from escaping. This assumption is correct in a general sense. But it misunderstands how elite hitters experience the 2-out situation, particularly elite hitters with runners on base. For a hitter of Ohtani's caliber, 2 outs does not mean reduced opportunity. It means clarified opportunity. With 2 outs, the runner goes on contact. With 2 outs, the pitcher knows he is 1 strike away from ending the inning, which creates its own kind of pressure, the pressure to finish, to put this away, to not let the inning extend. That pressure changes pitch selection. It changes location. It creates a subtle but real tendency toward the pitcher's most trusted offering in his most trusted zone, because when a pitcher needs 1 more out, he reaches for what he believes in most. Ohtani knows this. He has studied this. The psychological tendencies of pitchers in 2-out situations, the way they lean on their best pitch, the way they try to expand the zone to get a chase, the way they sometimes, under the weight of a late-inning lead they desperately want to protect, leave something just slightly too hittable in a location they thought was safe, these are not mysteries to him. They are patterns. And by his 4th at-bat, he has spent 6 full innings watching this particular pitcher reveal which patterns belong to him. The runner taking his lead off first base is easy to overlook in a moment this big. The camera will follow Ohtani. The broadcast will frame this as a singular confrontation between pitcher and hitter. And it is. But the runner is not irrelevant to what happens in that at-bat. His presence, his speed, his threat, the fact that he makes a single potentially as damaging as a home run, forces the pitcher to hold a portion of his attention outside the batter's box. Holding runners is automatic for major league pitchers, but it is not free. Every glance to first is a glance away from the hitter. Every slide step, every pickoff thought, every micro-adjustment made to manage the running threat is a decision made in a mental space that could otherwise be entirely devoted to executing the pitch. For most hitters, this difference is minimal. The pitcher manages both without meaningful cost. Against Ohtani, there is no minimal difference. The margin for error in this at-bat is already so small that any fragment of attention redirected away from pure execution becomes a real factor. The runner on first is not going to steal second on his own in this moment. 2 outs means he runs on contact, not on a pitch. But his presence complicates the pitcher's internal world in ways that accumulate, pitch by pitch, into something that matters. The Dodgers are not 2 runs down and lucky to have a runner on base. They have constructed a situation, through patience, through base running, through the quiet work of getting men on base in a game where their offense has been suppressed, where 1 swing converts a losing position into something entirely different. That construction is intentional. And the man at the center of it, the man they built this moment around, is already in the box. To understand the scale of what is happening in this at-bat, it helps to understand what the Cardinals pitcher is actually being asked to do. He is not being asked to retire a hitter having a good season. He is not being asked to strand a runner in a low-leverage situation. He is being asked, with a 2-run lead in the 7th inning, to get out the reigning unanimous MVP of the American League, a player who spent 2024 becoming the first player in history to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season, in an at-bat where that player has already seen him 3 times and has spent the entire game constructing a specific plan for exactly this moment. That is an assignment that would challenge anyone. The pitcher is good enough to be on a major league roster, good enough to be trusted in a late-inning lead-protecting situation, good enough to have gotten to this point in the game. None of that is in question. What is in question is whether anyone at all, is truly prepared to execute perfectly against Ohtani in his 4th at-bat when the game is on the line and the hitter has had 6 innings to build his picture. The Cardinals have a plan. They always have a plan. The plan will involve sequences designed to exploit tendencies, pitch locations chosen for their historical effectiveness, speeds and movement patterns selected to create doubt. It is a thoughtful plan. It is the best plan they have. And Ohtani, standing in the batter's box, has already spent the entire game figuring out what that plan looks like. In the press box, in the dugouts, in 40,000 seats and in the living rooms of everyone watching the broadcast, this at-bat is understood as a baseball event. A hitter against a pitcher, late in a close game, with the outcome of the game potentially hanging on the result. That framing is accurate. It is also, in a larger sense, incomplete. What this at-bat represents, what every late-inning, high-leverage Ohtani at-bat represents, is a demonstration of something that statistics capture only partially and highlight reels capture not at all. The demonstration is this: sustained, systematic, daily preparation applied over the length of a full game produces a qualitatively different hitter in the 4th at-bat than the one who stood in the box in the 1st inning. The physical tools are the same. The swing is the same. But the information is not the same. The certainty is not the same. The advantage is not the same. The Cardinals lead 4-2. 2 outs. 7th inning. The math says they are in control. And they are, against almost every other hitter in the lineup. Against Ohtani, in his 4th at-bat, with a runner on first and 6 innings of accumulated intelligence behind his eyes, the math is considerably less reliable. This is the moment that separates the good from the generational. Good players show up when the game is easy. Generational players are most dangerous when the game is hardest, when the lead is against them, when the outs are running out, when the entire dugout and everyone watching needs exactly one thing to happen. Those are the moments Ohtani has spent his entire career preparing for. Not just physically. Not just mechanically. But in the quiet, invisible, uncelebrated hours of study and discipline that produce a hitter who arrives at his 4th at-bat knowing more than the pitcher knows he knows. The runner takes his lead. The pitcher looks in for the sign. The stadium holds its breath. Ohtani digs in. And the game, whatever the scoreboard says, is no longer decided.